It's time to get started with the first match of the day. It's Gale Force versus Mocket. Get hyped, get ready. By the end of the day, we're going to find out who's the best team in the European region and arguably the world. This is the Rocket League Championship Series. Let's get into the first match on DFH Stadium with the commentary is Leaf and Lawler.
Yesterday, we got to watch some dubious demos, great goals and super saves, all from North America, and those last two land spots secured. But today, it's all about Europe as we secure those last two spots, starting with this match here. And to bring it to you, I'm LeafX, and with one of my best buddies, Lawler. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. And like you said, this means everything to these teams. All they have to do, one best of 7, and they have a spot for LAN. It means everything today for these guys. Those previous 5 weeks leading up to this, it's been a battle back and forth. And to really talk about it, you can tell it in these two teams. A team that started really, really hot and a team that started kind of poor have completely flipped roles and now have to play each other again at the very end.
I mean, not that you want to lose anything, but today is the day to not lose. So if you do, you're going home. This match here, our first one, Gale Force versus Mocket. Gale Force, of course, they talk about that powerful Pashy, but Mocket been gaining steam throughout this season. And hopefully that bodes well for them. Coming into game number 1, this is a best of 7. Someone's going home and someone's going to LAN. Who's going to grab that first spot? We'll find out. Give them your energy. As at the beginning, both teams probably going to just try to find their footing, get that first early goal to start off that momentum on the right foot. Mocket trying to make that first move as they're starting an early offense.
Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. The last time these guys played in week number 1, they were actually known, Gale Force, before as Pocket Aces. These guys trying to set stuff up. Pashy had a really big game, and then it was Violent Panda with a ton of assists that we've come to know him for. If they can get that rolling again, keep this offense that's so strong at bay, it's going to be a whole different story we see here.
Well, they've already had to keep it at bay for a little bit. The first minute saw Mocket trying to create up some plays, even getting some demos in there, just starting off aggressive. These guys want to take a win, and they're going to do it with force. Having trouble breaking past that midfield now is Shazette. Hopefully performing a little better than we saw him throughout the rest of the season. Will help his team grab a win here. There's Kadoff, though, with a chance. Shazette forced to make a save there, but a second touch from Kadoff keeps that one in the box. Kadoff, a scary sight to have charging at you when you're on defense. Fairy Peak, the Batmobile flick up to Mystic, but Mystic gets taken up by his own teammate. They'll have to try again from their own end now. No real chance for Gale Force. They had an opportunity to break out, but they don't utilize it well. They end up right back in their own box. Panda taken out from the play. Shazette forced to pick it up. Pashy just trying to find his way into a play here. Can't seem to find his footing, and they're getting stuck on their own end as a result.
A lot of that has to do with Fairy Peak's involvement as he puts a shot on net. It sneaks in. What?
And there it is. Pashy again waiting on the line there, just wasn't able to find a spot off one of the defenders, but it wasn't enough.
Well, you saw Fairy Peak going up early for that one, and there was someone on the backboard waiting for it, but it didn't matter. Getting the save, it just didn't have enough power to clear that out, hitting that weird angle over the top of his car, and it slides back in. It looks like Mocket's going to score first. 2 minutes into this first match of a best of 7, but easily responded by Gale Force.
We got the first goal from Mocket for the regionals of EU, but Gale Force, as you said, answered this one super quick right off the kickoff. We've seen a lot of kickoff goals the past day. 1-1, 3 minutes left. Back where we started. Gale Force finally finding an opportunity. Maybe the kickoffs are what they're going to have to utilize. They try it again as Panda boosted up, tries to chip one to midfield. Pashy there to send that on to offense. A little confused in the corners. Both Panda and Pashy try to attack that ball. Shazette just trying to keep control, keeping that offensive Mocket at bay. And it works out as Panda's able to move that one back past midfield. Pashy there to keep the pressure on. A completely neutral 50-50 there. Will set no possession, but finally a clear from Mocket. Can they create a chance out of this one? They might. Fairy Peak up to the air. Sets that one off the backboard. Both his teammates back off, though. Seeing Shazette and Pashy in net know that a clear is likely to come out. Panda just clearing their own end of one of those orange players. Gives himself a little bit more time to move back down into the Mocket territory. Another minute passed. No more goals have been scored after those two quick in succession there. As I say it, Mystic drops one off the bar and puts himself back into the lead.
Two players ready to contest this immediately after. Fairy Peak with a good touch as well. Recognizes there's two defenders in goal. Doesn't play it right away. Plays it off the backboard and lets his teammate behind him following up take the shot in Mystic. And even if Mystic isn't there, you see K-Dop, that MVP player, just waiting behind, ready to take a shot as well. Good setup by Mocket to put them back up by 1.
We'll see if they can hold it, though. We saw that last one get answered pretty quickly by Gale Force. They didn't get a kickoff goal here, but they might be able to find something on offense as they do have control at midfield. Panda just sends that one back into the hands of Mocket, though, and they'll lose their opportunity. K-Dot with a hard clear off the backboard. Follow-up from Fairy Peak sets that one off the backboard again. Panda, the last one there, gets the touch he was looking for. A lot of possession giveaways for Gale Force. Not much control for them, and it's allowing Mocket to stay on offense. Fairy Peak trying to listen to the desk and getting involved in the plays. Kate up a simple shot on net, saved easily by Shazette. Mystic grinding it out in the corner, down in the Gale Force end. They finally get a clear, but heads right back down into the blue territory. Pashy, not the pop he was looking for, followed up by Shazette. We'll set this on to offense. A boost grab, if they can keep it in, we'll set them on a pretty good offensive rotation, but they lose that quickly as Mystic sends one that to the far side. Shazette on defense, forced to push that away. Panda up for his own pass to Pashy off the backboard, but Fairy Peak and Mystic both up there for a spider touch. We'll keep it away. 42 seconds left now. Mocket looking to secure themselves the first win in this best of 7, as long as they can hold on to this 1-goal lead.
Well played by Violent Panda there as well, slowing it down just a little bit to bring out someone on offense, able to play that back inside, but that pass getting tripped up on his own teammate. That could have been the goal they were looking for, as Fairy Peak almost getting a double tap on his own, contested by Mystic.
We saw it yesterday during NA. I think Jacob had one of those, but those corner bounces off the roof right above the net are difficult to read, to say the least. And the miss there doesn't matter. There's 7 seconds left, and they're up a goal. And it looks like Gale Force didn't have enough in them to be able to get a goal, but the ball is not just the ground yet. Fair Peak drops it quickly to the ground. Shazette can't make anything out of it, and Mocket can grab the first win in this series as we have Gale Force trying to scramble back up to grab a win themselves in game number 2.
Well, Gibbs has been talking about it all season, about this Mocket team being a fantastic team, and you see it there. Fairy Peak really getting involved. 12 shots total, 5 apiece for both him and K-Dop. And that's what really they've been needing, is Fairy Peak has been very quiet throughout the season, but as he's getting more and more involved, whether it be through those bump plays early on or just making touches for shots, it really allows this team to move around and get plays off. And that's where that duo that we're so afraid of, Fairy Peak and K-Dop working together, comes alive.
Again, momentum throughout this entire season so far, coming up to this point. This is the pinnacle, and that's probably the right direction to go. Instead of downhill, they've been going uphill. And I think Gale Force got caught off a little guard. I mean, at the beginning, they just were on each other's feet. A lot of times, I saw so many bumps on each other. Gale Force getting each other's way. They had a great passing play, I think, in those last 2 minutes there. And I forget who it was, but they ended up tying each other up in front of the net when one of them had a shot. You got to watch out for that. You can't cross each other's pass. You have to allow the pass to connect. Get out of the play when you're done. Don't try to always be involved. And you're going to find out that that's going to work better for your team overall. Gale Force just needs to tighten those things up, and they'll probably be able to pull back on this aggression that we've seen from Mocket in that first game.
Yeah, you got to be careful about not completing those rotations. When you talk about it, these guys become so zealous about wanting to make a play. And in high-pressure situations like that, it's really tough to not have that happen. So it's just a matter of going back to the basics. As soon as I make my play, go back, get my boost, completely remove myself from the situation, and it'll clean up those mistakes. But other than that, really close game. It could have been a different story other than that trip-up.
Well, we'll see if game number 2 is a different story. One of these teams is securing themselves a spot to land. Mocket grabbed the first win here. Gale Force needs to answer. We did see a sweep yesterday. Hopefully Gale Force doesn't experience that one today. Not the way you want to go out. Someone's going home. A couple bucks in the pocket, but that's not what you want. You want to get out to Los Angeles. 30 seconds into game number 2. Gale Force gonna play this one smart, make sure they don't trip each other up. A little back and forth, ping pong right now between Mocket and Gale Force as they try to find their footing. A demo, we saw this in the last game, an early demo from Mocket as they try to set up that first goal for themselves. Grabbing an early lead is always a comfortable spot to be. Shazette with a nice clear, but it goes right into the hands of Fairy Peak. Off the backboard, follow up by himself. Shazette, beautiful read off the backboard to clear that one back to midfield, but they haven't been able to maintain possession, just the clears.
Fairy Peak is being an absolute bully up front. He spent a solid 5-10 seconds just in that net, hitting whoever it was, and it's just buying time, especially when Shazette's having a couple issues with these clears. They're really lofty, and it's buying time as that one sneaks in from the MVP K-Dop.
Shazette tried to get a read on this one, just squeaked by him, and just catches the corner. You never know if those are going to go in.
Those clears need to be a lot stronger from Shazette. It is allowing this team of Mocket all the time in the world to get into the right position to contest them, and it is paying off.
First goal, that early goal there for Mocket, a minute 20 in. Gale Force had an answer last time, but Pesci off on his trajectory there. Isn't going to be able to grab a shot himself. Now a turnaround by Mocket. Mystic and K-Dot moving up. The boost grab. The attack. Fairy Peak trying to get underneath just for option coverage, but they're unable to make anything out of it. Shazette to Pesci. Beautiful passing play, but a miss. Just wide of the net there. And Mocket with a counterattack quickly. Fairy Peak sends one on target. There's Panda waiting for that attack. Is able to stop it out. Almost a chance, but that's what I like to see. Not tripping each other up. Getting those passing plays connected by Gale Force.
Need those quick counterattacks, otherwise they're going to be in trouble. But Gale Force, being a defensive team, one of those teams that likes to sit back and really utilize this meta in the aspect of where one player is going to move up, take themselves out of position, and then they counterattack with 3. That kind of pressure is what Gale Force has done well. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for them last week against Northern Gaming, where they got beat at their own game. But it's a strategy that they've tried to implement here. But kudos to Mocket. That aggressive playstyle is a really good way to shut it down.
Pick up from Kate up there. Shazette sends that one high to the midfield. Back down the other way, same story. Panda can't get it past Fairy Peak. Great midfield pressure coming up from Mocket. Look at these wide rotations. No matter where this ball goes, there's someone there to connect with it. Once again, Fairy Peak in the midfield off the wall. Gale Force having so much difficulty getting any kind of clear that makes it past Mocket as they keep spreading back to defense very nicely. And there it is, Fairy Peak with another contest.
Well, the fantastic thing about that midfield pressure and what it does for Mocket, not only do they keep applying that pressure, but it gives them boost control. And the team on Gale Force only has 2 100 boosts to really work with. So they're scrounging for boost in those small 12 pads as well.
No, you're absolutely right. They do manage to find themselves on offense here, but it was very short-lived as Mocket tries to break that one down the other way. 50-50 for Shazette. Actually sends that to the box. A defender can't do much, but try to set it to the side, and Panda's going to take advantage of that one.
Shazette setting it all up with that win over the top of Mocket. Able to push that up to Passion, then Pashy back down to his best friend, Violent Panda. The duo working in clutch here.
All tied up now. Minute 44 left. That was starting to get close on the clock. The Gale Force does even things up. Mocket has had a pretty good offense. We'll see if this tie game will last very long. Mocket's going to re-grab that lead as they did in game number 1. Shazette flick, seen a couple of these from him. Deja vu, there's someone at midfield once again to connect with that and stop any kind of advance from Gale Force. As Pashy gets that stolen away from him by Mystic. Look at this, Mocket is everywhere at this midfield. Gale Force trapped in a jail cell right now, cannot break out of their own end. With a minute left, they might start running out of boost, as you just mentioned, as Mocket keeps trying to find their way in, trying to find that play, trying to connect with the back of the net. Still tied up with a minute remaining, but Mocket's looking fairly dominant on the pitch.
What's even scary about that midfield defense too is, like I said, they only have 2 of those 100 boosts to work with, but then when you got people playing aggressive and fast, they're able to steal it from you, as K-Dop just did there. One less thing to work out, but that clear is so crucial and now allows these guys, and you can see it, as soon as they get up, they all immediately rotate back, boost back up, and then go for the counterattack because they got to make it count as Pashy sneaks one in.
The Ninja coming through, just receives a pass from his buddy. Going the other way this time. Just finds the only hole he could put that in.
Hey, going back to what they're comfortable with. Violent Panda, the king of assists this season, showing up to his buddy Pashy all over the field, as you stated. Same score line as last game, trying to close this one out with 30 seconds left in game number 2 of this best of 7. Winner goes on to the LAN.
There it is, 2-1. Mocket grabbed the first game, 3-1 now. Gale Force just making sure they secure this win to bring this to a tied series.
Unfortunately for K-Dop, trying to get that past these guys that were attacking. Pops it up pretty high, but no one there to help him out like they've been doing at the midfield, and it gets punished by Gale Force.
25 seconds left. We'll see even 2 answers come back from Mocket. They may just be looking at game number 3, but you never give up. Always do your best. Even 1 goal and then another at 0 seconds could bring you to a tie in an overtime. We'll see if Mocket can make a breakout here. They've had a lot of offensive pressure. Just lacking a bit on any plays that created scoring chances. Gale Force at least has been able to keep that at bay. This could be a chance here, but with 3 seconds left, 2 goals ain't gonna happen. Game number 2 is gonna go to Gale Force as we tie up this series.
Back and forth it's been, and the scoreline showing exactly that. When you look at the difference maker in this game, you see the difference in Violent Panda and Pashy, the way they are working together on those saves and those quick counterattacks. Just really quick 1-2 pass plays from one side of the field and the other. Misdirection being absolutely key for these plays to work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. Gale Force was stuck in their own end for quite a bit amount of time, and they still managed to get the same amount of shots as Mocket. But I mean, it was tough. They were stuck in their end for so long. Mocket did such a good job at midfield stopping it. I mean, a majority of that game, and I would love to see a possession or like a time on attack kind of stat. And I feel like Mocket would have had that dominated, but it doesn't matter. You have that one breakout chance. Gale Force, whenever they found it, they made sure to capitalize on it, and they got a goal out of it.
Well, that's what Mocket is so good at, is that constant pressure, all that area. But what Gale Force does to usually counter it is they wait and wait and wait until they get this one opportunity where someone's just perfectly not there. They usually get about 2 touches in a row. Usually it's Shawset or Violent Panda that sets it up. They get that big long clear, and then they all counter at one time. They all sweep through, collect their boost, and then it's quick 1-2 pass play. If it doesn't work out, they all immediately retreat back, and then they set up defense again and wait for that siege, and then do it all over again. Usually it gets pretty dangerous with how good of these shooters have become, but they're holding off pretty well, and it's shown that teams like with Fairy Peak, where he's playing that aggressive play style, it really pays off. They didn't do that towards the end of that last game. Fairy Peak wasn't getting aggressive, and they didn't get any goals because of it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the play style worked out for Gale Force, stuck in their end a lot. They just stopped Mocket from getting any scoring chances. They were down there a lot. Not really getting, again, as I just said, any really open shots. Gale Force did a good job of keeping that at bay. Game number 3 all tied up in the series 1-1. Best of 7. One of these teams is going to land. Somebody's going home. Just the way it's got to be. 30 seconds into game number 2. Neither team getting that early goal. We saw Mocket grab, well, I think twice now that's happened where I said it hasn't happened. And then it does.
Hey, we talk about how good these guys have become as strikers. Look at K-Dop taking the shot off the wall. Just a perfect placement on that top right. No one able to read that in time. And with 30 seconds, Mocket up on the board.
As you just said, really goal there. 30 seconds, Mocket grabbing the first one. Gale Force in game number 1 answered the first goal pretty quickly. It took them a bit of time. I think a minute 44 left in game number 2 before they even answered Mocket last time. But they ended up winning the series. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Take your time. And they've got a lot of it. 4 minutes left. Gale Force, Pashy trying to move through on his own. Solo plays. Not going to work as Fairy Peak does keep that down to the other end. A shot. What an angle from Mystic. Wow. He just comes in, gets the pass off the backboard. Incredible play from Mocket.
Fairy Peak read that from a mile away. At midfield, he moves up on the wall, reads that pass out. It doesn't have any real pace to it, so he jumps off, saves that second jump for a little bit of time, and then he powers it straight back down into the net. And then that read from Mystic to get up and take that shot. The team play is coming together. Mystic has been one of those players that's been pretty quiet for the season, but he's always shown up crucially for this team.
Well, there it is. A 2-goal lead now for Mocket. What have they done or talked about in between last game and this one? It's working out. We'll see if they can hold on to the lead, though. Gale Force will be looking to answer. But that's not how you do it, though. Shawset psychs himself out. Too far past the ball. Can't get back in front of it. And K-Dop's going to grab the easy goal to put them 3 goals into the lead.
Exactly like you stated. Fairy Peak, that aggressive play style yet again. Winning that 50-50, rolling right past. Having to make that last-ditch effort. And as you stated, he psychs himself out. Those mistakes crucial at this moment. Can't be making those.
Whoops, whoops, whoops. Shawset allows another one to go in. 3:30 left, lots of time. Gale Force ended up getting 3 goals in that last 2-minute stretch. We'll see if they'll be able to tie this one up. They try to get a play here past midfield. Pashy trying to get up in that cherry pick. That leaves Panda alone against Fairy Peak as he wraps, that one around to K-Dop. He couldn't drop that one in. Back to their own end, Mocket goes. Fairy Peak waiting in net for a play from Pashy. That pinch going way wide. Read off the wall there from K-Dop as he gets that sent right back down into Gale Force's end. Miss from both players to try and attack that one. K-Dop Violent Panda have to leave the play. Fairy Peak picks it up instead. Pashy, dangerous spot here. She takes that one across his own goal line. Mocket couldn't take advantage. A pass from Mystic to K-Dop and Fairy Peak, overcommitting there. Doesn't matter, Pashy couldn't create anything out of it. Ball got to the corner enough that they couldn't just clear that one down to an open net. Good pass there coming up from Fairy Peak. It will be stopped out by Panda as K-Dop tries to force that one through with an Octane. Back pass from Shazette, smart awareness. Sorry, good awareness there from him to get that to Pashy. No scoring opportunity comes on that though. They do get it into the Mocket end. No scoring chance though.
Good job by Mocket as well, recognizing that they don't have to force anything here. Up by 3, you see the ability to make those rotations. And Fairy Peak could have turned around and contested it, but he realized as soon as even if that 50-50 goes even, he doesn't have any boost, he can't do anything with it, and he's completely out of the play and has to hustle back. Instead, he lets his teammates swing in, go in for it, he collects back, gets boost, and then they're able to hold off on the offense. Good decision making on that time.
1:44 left. All tied up in the series, but definitely not in the game. Mocket's grabbed 3 goals so far. 2, Gale Force's 0. See if they can grab a shutout out of this game. Put themselves up 2-1 in the series. Slowly moving that ball forward with some defensive passing. Mystic just gives that one over to Shazette. They send that back to midfield. Can they get it further than that? They can. Panda gets the pinch off the wall. No play started out of it though. They'll try again down that midline. Shazette throws it deep into Mocket's territory, but Mystic will get a nice clear. Good stop from Panda there off the roof. Some ping pong now as both teams try to get a play started up by just sending it down, but I mean, it's really up to Gale Force at this point to set something up. Mocket doesn't have to do anything with 1 minute remaining and 3 goals up.
No, you're exactly correct. With this kind of time, it's just clock management now. Anytime that ball gets near them, just smash it back down to the other end and play that defense. If they can keep sending them in and getting shots so close like that, but K-Dop's going to sneak one underneath Panda and get a goal.
The oddest goal there as it goes off both posts before it ends up in the hands of K-Dop as Panda can't read that bounce. Difficult spot to be from him. K-Dop once again grabbing a fairly easy goal.
So unfortunate for Violent Panda, doing everything in his power trying to get the save, but it just bounces a little bit too light and bounces down. But being up by 4 with about 35 seconds left here, it's going to be real tough for Gale Force to bring it back. And they're probably looking to game number 3 as it puts Mocket up 2-1 in the series after this closes out.
I mean, at least 1 goal would be nice, not to get shut out with 30 seconds left. That's possible. Even a boomer from your own end. Don't let that shutout happen, or else you'll start to feel like you're getting dominated. That's not what you want in a series where you're going to end up going home, but that's what's happening as Mocket sets a 5th one in, starting to pad some stats.
You know, I think I'm starting to believe Gibbs, and I hate it.
Don't give into it.
They're playing so well on offense. It's something that we've been missing from them from all season. We just haven't really seen Fairy Peak involved. But as he's getting this comfort, and it shows as well during this time, like when it's the most important, you have the most pressure coming out, and he's able to get involved and make those plays. It makes this team so well-rounded and so well-respected.
Mocket's gonna grab game number 3, putting themselves 1 step closer to grabbing themselves a land spot and sending Gale Force packing as Mocket dominates game number 3, 5-0, a shutout. Absolutely incredible. You see K-Dop once again on offense, man. That guy is just scary. I said it, I think, in game number 1, when you're facing him down, he's in your goal, on your goal line. There's probably a shot coming towards your net, and it's not going to be easy to save.
Well, Mocket does have the best shooting percentage out of anybody in EU, and K-Dop showing it there, having another hat trick on 5 shots. Unbelievable play from him, but very minimal saves. Like they're keeping it. Like you're talking about it. That midfield defense is really showing up for this Mocket squad.
I think I've talked about Gale Force in game number 1. They were tripping each other up, and I said, when you're done with the play, you leave, get boost, and then come back to it. And that's what Mocket's doing perfectly right now. The second they know they're not in the play, they don't wait around and just look, see, well, could I be involved? They back off, grab some midfield boost, and that's what's allowing those wide rotations and allowing that midfield pressure to keep them on offense so long. And it just starts to wear you down. As Gale Force, when you feel like you're stuck in your own ends for so long, it just feels bad, man. It's so tough to really keep your spirits up when you're not really on offense ever.
Well, I mean, we talk about how easy it is. We're like, yeah, just clear the ball. Everything's fine. But it's so difficult when you have people swinging and then taking the only boost that is available to you, or you're having to keep pressuring against these shots. And it's just, if those clears aren't fast enough, it's like, okay, I need boost to get some power behind this, but they've taken it all. So what do we do? And they just keep having to scrounge for it, and it's just not enough. I mean, you see it, 5 goals sneaking, and that's not a small amount for a team like Gale Force.
Well, we'll see if they can fix any of the mistakes here, or at least stop the great plays coming up from Mocket. Game number 4. This is a do-or-die series, a best of 7. Mocket sets himself in the lead in the series, but if you know anything, that means nothing when it comes to EU teams. Saw a couple game number 7s yesterday. Gale Force gonna grab the early goal for themselves this time. 27 seconds into game number 4.
Just a little bit shorter than last game, but it has to do again with shutting that clear down. Up on the backboard there, he just pinches it and settles it. Completely stops the momentum of the ball right in front of the most dangerous spot, right above the net. And despite having 2 goalies trying to go up for it, doesn't matter as they get a touch on it first. With the pressure from Gale Force showing early on in this game, realizing that that sitting back style is not working.
We'll see if an answer can come up from Mocket here as they create an attack just a little bit wide on the shot. There was a defender anyways. Chazette moves that one up to midfield with the help from Panda. They can move that down into the box of Mocket. Nope, says Mystic. Sends that one flying back down to an awaiting Chazette. There's a demo attempt. Fairy Peak will be out of the play for a second as it was missed, but he was forced to jump. Fortunately, Chazette's teammates couldn't get a play started up there. They'll have to try again, but right idea. Get physical. That's what we saw Mocket do in the first 2 games. Early demos just to show who's dominant on the field. Kind of assert themselves onto the pitch. Passing play. Chazette a little bit too far behind that one. They'll get sent back down into their own end. 1.5 minutes passing by. So far, Gale Force only one to score. K-Dop trying to change that.
Well, passing plays have been coming out, just not able to find people as the way they're spreading the field working out. Someone just always there to meet it. The ball being cleared down immediately. You see these guys trying to contest it early on to buy themselves some time as Mocket swinging around. A pass play again, going up high from Pashy as he denies yet another boost from this Mocket squad on defense.
Nice hard clear from K-Dop. Any kind of mistake there on that aerial from Panda would have ended up in a goal there. Passing play to Pashy. The backboard plays, and there's a second goal.
Eventually that boost getting to this Mocket team, swinging through, and you see Fairy Peak jumping just because he thought that initial play was going to be a shot, but instead he settles down and can't do anything about it as he's just left cemented in net. Up by 2 with 3 minutes left in game number 4 as Gale Force trying to tie this series back up as they're down by 1.
And I said it yesterday, too, some early meta we saw backboards, I mean, way back in the Weedham Girls days. And that's changed a bit. You always have someone waiting, but we saw yet another one here. I wonder if that trend will continue today for EU as Gale Force grabs simple textbook play off the backboard. No answers yet from Mocket as we approach that halfway mark. They are up in the series, but why not keep that lead? They need 3 goals to end up with a win. Otherwise, Gale Force is going to even up this best of 7. Mystic's going to miss that. That'll allow Chazette and Pashy to move up the field. Panda hanging back in the midfield. Knows Fairy Peak has a hard clear. Does exactly as expected. Sends that one back into the corner. Panda drops that to Pashy. Pashy will be out of the play, hoping for a demo there, but he'll back off the midfield. Nice block there from that Batmobile. Fairy Peak, the slope, a little bit of a mind game. Finds the corner, sinks in their first goal to try to climb back. 3
fantastic plays in a row from Fairy Peak. First touch off the wall. He cuts it up on the wall to play it out of the way of the player who's already on the wall waiting for it. Plays that back into the side. Landis wins the 50-50 and then slows the play down, gives himself time, and then flicks it over the top. 3 fantastic plays from Fairy Peak. That's the play we know from him in the community tournaments, and he's showing it here on the biggest stage of his life.
With 2 minutes left, they have 1 goal to bring this one back to try to set themselves at match point. They're still down in this one.
Oh no, Shazette!
Getting one in there, but Shazette can't put it in. What happened?
He done goofed, man.
You silly, silly man. Well, they're still in the lead. As long as they can hold that lead for a minute 30 left, that'll be fine, but Mocket will probably throw everything into it coming into this final minute hustle. You may as well, if you're gonna lose this game anyways. Good pass there, but Shazette will be a little bit off kilter. He'll head out of the play. Pesci trying to just play this slow, bounces it a little bit further than he wanted to. He had to react to that one as Fairy Peak tried to center that out from Mystic. Hard clear from Panda. They'll lose possession as another hard clear will come back from Fairy Peak. Off the roof, they keep possession, get it past Shazette. Dangerous play from Panda there. Almost got stuffed out by Mocket as they're moving on offense. 46 seconds left now. Gale Force need to be very careful if they want to even this series up. Mocket's looking to grab another goal to tie it up in this game, but there's some offense coming out from Gale Force. Actually, they don't commit too much. Panda just trying to be a nuisance in the way. Hard clear from Shazette. There it is. They'll back off just to see what Mocket's going to do. Don't commit to anything silly. Shazette doesn't. Now it's just time to buy some time, as we have 15 seconds remaining now for Gale Force to tie the series up. Maybe grab one more goal here just to secure this lead. Make sure they grab it. K-Dop has a chance to tie it. Tries to get that one under Pesci. No chance there for him though. One more attempt. We'll see if Mocket can tie this one up. Keeps it alive to K-Dop, the patience off the backboard. Fairy Peak gets stuffed out by a defender. That'll head back to midfield as it almost touches the ground. I'm sure Panda's going to try to kill this one as quickly as possible. And there it is. Drops it to the ground. Gale Force will tie up the series 2-2 as we have a best of 7 on our hands, potentially a game number 7 brewing, maybe.
Every time you see these guys start to swing one way, I mean, you're talking the last game, Gale Force went down by 5, immediately respond back. And it really has to do, like, at the end there, Mocket just started hitting it to hit it. In that last roughly 45 seconds, they were just trying to hit the ball to maintain possession, to buy themselves time back on defense. And the issue with that is rather than going back and going in for, like, an actual play, like, it completely kills so much time. They need to just take that loss. Like, they're like, okay, on offense, we can't make anything happen from this. We don't have the boost. We're not in the right position. Let's reset. And they just didn't do that. They kept hitting it. They kept wasting time by hitting it. And because of that, Gale Force was able to window down that time and get the win.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, all they have to do, you got to realize at that point, Gale Force isn't looking to really create anything special on a play on offense, where they just want to make sure this time runs down and they keep this lead. And that's all they did at the end. You're absolutely right. Mocket, I mean, you're right. A little bit of ping pong at the end there, it's not what you want to see. I think Fairy Peak had, I mean, if you have to hit it really hard, Fairy Peak had a good idea. He hit it to the roof one time, so it dropped right back down into his hands. You can create a play out of that. But just hitting it back down into the other end for your opponents to do something with isn't the right idea.
No, and it's unfortunate that it came out that way, but that's kudos to Mocket recognizing the time that they have on the clock. Clock management becoming so important in these last couple seconds, because we saw a lot yesterday, these last couple decisions to tie it back up or bring us into a game number 7 or whatever it was. But it's still a battle, all tied up yet again in the series. These guys trying to win this best of 7 and secure a spot for the LAN in Los Angeles. Season number 3 underway, game number 5. Gale Force versus Mocket Esports.
You said it yourself. This is a LAN match right now as K-Dop drops in an early goal. They keep getting quicker and quicker every game in this series.
Only 9 seconds this time. That 50-50 popping way out into the middle with the help of his buddy Mystic. K-Dop's able to get to it first and put a shot top right. Up by 1 in the series. Trying to get it, but upvoted 1 in the game is a good start.
Yeah, it is. And whoever wins this, by the way, will set themselves at match point. That means they need 1 more after that to be able to secure themselves a spot into LAN.
Well, if we've seen anything's true, the series is going back and forth. So if someone can finally change that.
It's Mocket's turn to win, right?
Yeah, I think that, okay, back, front, yep.
You got the script
based upon my crisscross.
Although Panda's going to answer this one, just squeaks one in that top.
No. It's okay. So they scored, Mocket scored, so then Gale Force gets, so Mocket now gets to score next.
Oh, it's just back and forth. That's friendly. I like this game.
These guys are so nice.
Everybody's friends. Well, we'll see if that changes. I mean, when everything's on the line, You do whatever you can to win.
And we know Pashy's all about that. As he tries to pass it down to Chaussette.
Gale Force just even that one up quickly. First minute of gameplay, almost passing by with 2 early goals this time. Amping it up every single time. A shot though. Look at that, 3 goals. Wow, 3 goals in the first minute. And Mocket regains the lead.
I told you. All has to do though with Chaussette making that mistake. Played it into the corner, which is the right idea, but it bounces back out inside. Mystic waiting there. Unfortunately doesn't roll up on the wall and allow him to maintain possession. But good job by Mystic capitalizing on that. Being in the right place at the right time.
Let's see if an answer now again comes up from Gale Force. We've seen them a couple times in the series. Make some quick answers to any of the goals by Mocket. There might be a chance. Good stop there by Fairy Peak. Gets up early for a flank save. Chaussette just trying to get a nice little tippy tap to put one in the net, but he won't be able to, and that'll send back down into his own end. Panda to slow this one down, taking control instead of just booming it off the corner. Out of boost though, is not much he'll be able to do as Mystic can at least try to take it away from him. Sets Panda out of the play. Teammates come in, just try to keep a little bit of pressure now. Mocket to move this on the way. Wow, other way. Good defensive passing there. Instead of just booming it, they connected with each other. That's exactly what we were just talking about in the break, and Mocket seems to have realized that themselves. They sit up 2-1, 3 minutes left, but they're doing the right things on defense, and that should allow them to stay on offense a little bit more, create some more scoring chances. See if Gale Force can answer.
Gale Force needs to be careful though. They're setting up these pass plays, but oh no!
Not like this. An own goal, the self-destruction here off the backboard. That's not what you want to be doing.
I mean, right idea by Pashy trying to get in front of him to make sure that this Mocket player doesn't get the touch, but unfortunately for him, not the right angle where he's coming from. Looked like he wanted to get underneath it and play it off that backboard so he can clear it out.
I mean, I think it was pretty much a goal anyways, as there was an attacker there. Good answer, though. They're still down 1 goal, but at least it ain't 2.
Yeah, able to make up for it. Chaussette with a fantastic clear off that wall. Rather than bringing it down into the corner, he immediately hits it and plays it back inside. Because of that, it bounces off that backboard and puts it in a position for his team. Not allowing this Mocket team to get back on defense. Catches them off guard. Really quick counterattack.
3-2 still for Mocket. They've had that 1 goal lead for a bit of time. Gale Force has been fairly good at trying to answer at least most of these goals. One of them still goes unanswered. 2.5 minutes now left in this. Mocket looking to set themselves at match point to get themselves a spot into LAN. If anything's true to EU, we will send this go back and forth, and Gale Force should be able to answer with another win themselves. An attack here coming from Mocket. There's an attack. Mystic stopped out by Pashy. Panda up to his teammate Chaussette. Booms one to the bottom corner. Defender can't get there in time. Once again tied up with 2 minutes left.
Again, another really fast counterattack. That ball gets contested by Pashy to put over to the side. Violent Panda wastes no time going up on that wall and yet again playing it into the middle. And then for Chaussette to get involved and put a shot in. Really well done.
3-3. Tied up in the game and also tied up in the series, 2-2. It's a best of 7. One of these teams trying to get to LAN, the other team going home. Gale Force answering nicely with a lot of time to spare. Clear from Panda, miss from Fairy Peak. Will give Panda another chance to set one towards the net. Just a little bit wide. K-Dop will have time to move up to the corner, but the only defender back. There's only so much you can do, and K-Dop couldn't do it all.
Well, Gale Force there suffocating K-Dop's chances. He tries to make a touch quickly to the outside rather than trapping it and maintaining possession with that ball. He throws it right away, and then it's immediately fed, but unfortunately, he's got 2 defenders he's got to play against rather than trying to get it out, and he plays back inside. The 1-2 touch. Gale Force back on top. This could be that break they're looking for as it almost sneaks in that 50-50 with Pashy.
Almost a pinch into the net there. Panda might find the net still. Just barely keeping that one out. If there was anyone there, that would have been a goal, but thankfully for Mocket, they were able to push that one past the midfield. Some aggression coming in there, a demo. There's another one. Could be a chance. There's no one in net, but Mystic will not be able to get there with enough power, and on time, Pashy will be able to recuperate, get to that goal line, and make a save.
Really good shot, though, by Mystic.
You're right.
As soon as he went up for that, He recognized someone was going into net, so he tries to change it up, and he actually plays that super soft. It makes it a little bit more difficult to read, but unfortunately he hit it directly at him, so he didn't really have to do too much.
I mean, to be able to even find that angle in the first place.
Get that angle and recognize, like that split-second decision to make sure he rotates his car to hit it just light enough as well. Trying to do whatever he can with the opportunities given.
Pashy with a shot himself to the far side, forcing K-Dop to make a move there. Josette can't do much with it. Neither can Mock it, though, as he just backs up and gets in the way. Still a lead with 30 seconds left, Gale Force. Well, every time I've talked about this, Mock it answers. I can't talk anymore. I'm helping them out.
Just preface anything with still in the and then wait for something to happen, because it's pretty consistent at this point with that pass play coming inside for K-Dop, putting a boomer of a shot as well. No time to react, and with 30 seconds, 4-4, one of these teams just trying to get an edge in the series, as it will bring them then to match point. Whoever winning this series then going on to land in Los Angeles.
17 seconds left. We might see an overtime between Gale Force and Mock it. Let's run down those final seconds on the clock. See if Mock can create something. Nope, just some back and forth here, ping pong. Both teams playing fairly cautious here. As this ball likely dropped down, I know Pashy won't want that sitting in front of his net for too long. Chazette throws that one deep down into the Mock it end, and it will drop down to the end. Mock it will let that one go into an overtime. The first we've seen of the day now. Gale Force, Mock it tied him in the series. One goal here will grab someone a match point situation. One more game after that to grab themselves a spot to Los Angeles. That's such a tongue twister.
So, I don't know if like, we need help. Chat, tell us if it's Los Angeles or La La Land.
I don't want to give any power to those guys.
Well, it's a naming convention. They'll figure it out.
Chazette tries to send that one deep to the other end. K-Dop will answer quickly at midfield. As Mock it off that kickoff, 30 seconds in. We see a lot of goals usually pretty quickly going into overtime. It just seems to be a trend, but not going to happen here. As 40 seconds pass so far, Mock it's still on the attack. Fairy Peak puts that one towards the net. Not enough power. That won't be able to lob over the defender. Back to midfield. Chance now for an attack of Gale Force. Stuffed out by Mock it. Pass out to K-Dop. Sets one on target. Panda keeps it to the side. Chazette with the cleanup. Follows that one through with all the boost he can muster. Pashy can't get a pass out off the corner because Mystic will be there with the spider touch. Some short passes to each other. Mystic and Fairy Peak move that one up the field. K-Dop ready for a pass to him. That'll be out. A shot. Can he put it on target? Tries to go for the short side, knowing the defenders will expect a powerful shot. Won't be a goal for them. Just over a minute now into overtime. 4-4. Tied up in the series 2-2. K-Dop off the backboard to nobody. Fairy Peak just trying to keep the dream alive. That will go into the hands. No, it won't. Of Gale Force finally. Pashy forces that one through. Panda doesn't get the pass he want. Will Chazette be there? He will. K-Dop will as well to send that back down. Both teams trying to get these plays now. No ping pong, but a lot of back and forth.
Well, it's crazy how much just one boost denied changes the entire rotation for this Gale Force team. It was K-Dop and Violent Panda were fighting for the side 100 boost, and K-Dop actually pressured him and got it from Violent Panda. And because of that, rather than the offense starting to transition downfield with the favor of Violent Panda immediately backs off, has to go back and get the boost defensively, and then it completely puts him on now a defensive situation. Everything's set up by just that one play.
Shot gonna go a little bit wide there for Fairy Peak. Mock it once again starting to put some pressure on, but we see Gale Force, a much different team than game number one, answering very nicely to a lot of this Mock it pressure. We're hitting 2.5 minutes of overtime. One of these teams tries to set themselves at match point. Chazette can't get the best touch there, but some passing plays back and forth between Gale Force team members. Almost get a play started up. I like to see them looking for each other. Pashy shot quickly stopped by Mystic. He forces himself in for a read. Panned off the backboard, no follow-up, not enough boost, too much momentum the wrong way. Pashy tries to get that underdunk. Look at this pressure now from Gale Force. Every angle they come from, they're trying to make sure they get a touch to just keep that on offense. Give their teammates some time to try to set up a play. Demo on a Mock it will probably kill out any offense they were about to have as they move down into Gale Force's territory. Hard clear from Pashy. We'll see if they can get possession out of it. They might be able to as Panda goes up. A shot just off the top bar. No finish to that one. Pashy can't finish it either. So close for Gale Force. 3.5 minutes in overtime. Somehow Mocket's still alive.
Mocket doing whatever they can to avoid a repeat of the last time these two teams met. Holding off this offense, doing such a good job, trying to respond as Fairy Peak almost fakes it. Oh, so close.
So close there. The defenders from Gale Force gasping themselves likely as that ball almost dropped into their net. Approaching 4 minutes of overtime now, 4-4. 2-2 in the series, best of 7. Someone will be at match point. I'll say it again. That could be a shot though, no one home. K-Dop to finish this one off. They'll set themselves at match point now to grab themselves a spot at LAN in a 4-minute overtime.
Just 1 minute short of a whole nother game for these guys, and that could spell trouble for Gale Force. They've been in a little bit of a slump the past couple of weeks, but they're not showing any signs of it in this series, and as it has been non-stop back and forth. But Mocket finally able to close it out in that overtime. Look at the shots coming out.
100 billion shots.
Or 18, but yes.
NA math. Mocket grabs that in a 4-minute overtime, but I gotta say, Gale Force answering very nicely now to the pressure from Mocket. We saw in the first few games that Mocket had a lot of control when it came to offensive pressure, and Gale Force was having difficulty answering to it. Now they're moving out quickly, they're taking control, and they're finding chances themselves.
It's just, you have to be so afraid of K-Dop. That's again another hat trick for him. He's been the proponent that's been basically putting this Mocket team all together. He's been on offense and defense. Like, the craziest stat line about K-Dop is not about how many shots and goals that he makes, but also the amount of saves he makes as well. It's showing how much he is transitioning from one side of the field to the other and just trying to carry this team as hard as possible. But now he's getting the help from Fairy Peak as well. Like, Fairy Peak has been pretty quiet throughout this entire series, or this entire season. But this series, he's been getting involved. He's making these plays. He's going up for touches that it just seemed like he was lacking that confidence previously. And now it's really showing for him. It's fantastic.
Well, let's talk about getting involved on the other side of the field, though. I mean, Shazette, again, someone that wasn't performing the best, maybe as expected, on a team with Pashy. He's showing up today. And again, we saw it yesterday. I mean, even players like Sad Jr. that haven't been performing all that well, they're showing up now when it matters, and this is what I love to see. Anything can happen. Right now, Gale Force is sitting in not the best spot. Mocket at match point to grab themselves a spot at LAN, and about to send Gale Force Esports packing if they win this game right here. We'll see if Gale Force can answer us and bring us to another Game 7. I mean, it's EU. I fully expect all of these to go to Game 7 today. You're in for some good Rocket League. As an early attack tries to come out from Gale Force. They know where they are situated in this series right now, and they know that it is do or die. Everything has to go into this game for them. And Mocket will be the ones that have to answer that as they try to turn this around for an attack. K-Dop and Fairy Peak with the short passes trying to move this one upfield together. They managed to get it down there, but they don't manage to create anything out of it. They'll try again. Fairy Peak, long shot up to no cherry picker. Panda sends that one down to Pashy. Pashy tries to trap that one low, puts it a little bit out of his reach. Chazette can't read that one just the best off the roof. Sends it towards the net, but not with enough power. Will be saved out by Mocket. Mystic forced into that one as K-Dop didn't get the read correctly off that backboard. That's an awkward spot. Chazette's going to try to force this one through. Pashy opts to let Panda get that shot. Finish there from Pashy's not going to happen as Fairy Peak intercepts that play. As Mocket trying to get a play of their own. First minute dominated by Gale Force on offense. Mocket wants a turn now. So they get stuck once again in their own end.
A lot of it has to do with that midfield defense coming out yet again, just completely shutting them down. Even though Mocket's been pretty dominant in it at the beginning of this series, it doesn't seem to matter. Gale Force trying to respond back as they're not sure who's going to touch this ball.
Yeah.
As they're all just swinging around. Lots of misdirection.
That was a weird, but a read from Chazette. Gets that dunk off the top of K-Dop. Wasn't enough to put it on net. Panda tries to center that one out. He does so, but a little too powerful. Pashy will try again off the roof. Fairy Peak forced to put that one away. And man, look at this. Chazette grabbing the boost. This is what I like to see. And we saw it from a few teams yesterday. A lot of good boost starvation. Gale Force has found themselves with that first 2 minutes on offense for a majority of the time. Mocket still looking to answer with any plays of their own. They get down there, but it doesn't last for very long until Gale Force quickly turns this one right back around. At the midline, can they start it out? No, Mystic will keep a little bit of pressure, allows teammates to get boosted up. It's going to be exactly what Mocket needs to be able to move away from their own end. And that's going to be the chance right here. Fairy Peak loses 50-50 to Shazette. We'll have to try again.
Huge and very much so crucial contest coming out from Shazette there as well. Two moving down together with K-Dop right behind. Able to win that out. Buys his team time as they're able to get back in. Ball going back and forth. Violent Panda having to go up as Mystic's already there. Plays it over the defender outside of Fairy Peak, but the shot is weak. Gale Force needs to be careful on how they handle this as they use a pinch to clear downfield, buying themselves time, able to go get boost yet again. And they set back up for this attack.
Well, you're right about careful. I mean, if you find yourself on offense a lot, you might feel like you're dominated. You might just start to feel like you're invincible. But remember, you haven't scored yet, and Mock It has every chance to be able to turn that around the second you show any kind of weakness on defense and grab a goal themselves. That would set them into the lead, grab themselves a win and a spot to land. 0-0. This is a scary spot for Gale Force. They need to start getting some goals because with a minute approaching, one goal for Mock It could spell the demise of Gale Force. And everything's going to come down to these last few plays. Very big. We'll sink that one in for Mock It. They are now one goal, having to hold off, and they will have their spot secured.
That is why it is so difficult when it's up above. That perfect placement from Fairy Peak. When he clears that ball, he hits the very top corner right above the net. Rather than it bouncing back out towards him and allowing this team that's underneath to jump up and make a play, it immediately shoots straight down, and Fairy Peak is in the perfect spot to make a play. That is the goal they need. It could be all they need to make it into land.
Well, we'll see if they can hold off. Gale Force literally has to put everything into this, or they are donezo for Season 3, and they know exactly that. Expect to see a lot of everything coming into this final minute of gameplay as Mock It does sit into the lead. 1-0. One goal for Mock It to at least tie this one up. And K-Dop is going to be the only one on offense as Mock It is going to just try to kill time, hold off onto this lead they have here. Tripping up like that's going to be difficult. Shazette and Panda getting to each other's feet.
You see the way Mock It is changing with their playstyle shot coming in from Mystic, but they're slowing it down. They're taking their time. They're setting up set plays in their play in the aspect where like K-Dop's up on top. You see Mystic slow it down really bad. He then goes for an open pass, but a shot coming in. Violent Panda with the flick. He's getting that doink of legends.
What a crucial and clutch goal. 25 seconds left, and they would have been out of Season 3. Panda comes in from the other side, just taps that one in.
He is sitting there perfectly with K-Dop right behind him. That subtle touch right over the top. 30 seconds left. Need to get a goal for Gale Force to stay alive in this best of 7.
15 seconds left, all tied up now. An answer maybe coming from Mock It. They don't like that they just got scored on. 13 seconds left. That's not a lot of time for Gale Force. This could be it for them.
Like sharks, they are playing this through. One going up, letting his teammate take it off. K-Dop then going for the goalie, just doing everything they can to make sure that response is immediate.
13 seconds remaining now for Gale Force to pull this one back. Mock It is at 3-2 in the series. You need 4 to win.
What?
That could be it. Another goal, a rocket off the kickoff with 10 seconds left. Gale Force's dreams look to be dashed.
That perfect kickoff from Mystic, making sure to connect with that so it pinches back out to the other side. And then that follow-up, that cheat from K-Dop, risky but paying off.
And here it is, 10 seconds remaining. This could be it for Gale Force. Pashy's team, Panda and Shazette, could be going home as Mock It has to hold off another one just to add insult to injury. And there is no way Gale Force is coming back.
So unfortunate for Passion Violent Panda, a team that was a part of the runner-ups last season, doing whatever they could, sending everybody and allowing that last goal to come in, but so unfortunate for them as Mock It battles back and changing the scene. They are so ready to completely finally get this pattern underway.
And there it is, Mock It Esports grabbing that one of two spots into land for EU, and there's only one spot left. Congratulations to Mock It. Gale Force put up a heck of a fight. Again, Shazette showing up when he needed to, but unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough. And there it is, Mock It moving on. Unfortunately, Gibbs may be right.
I don't like it, man.
You're going to get your hat taken away, man.
I finally got my own wizard hat, and Gibbs is like, no. It's mine.
It's mine now. But again, congratulations to Mock It Esports. We have one spot left. Now, for LAN on the EU side of things, I think the desk has a little more to say about that.
Thank you, Leaf and Lawler. Wow, what a series to start out the day here, the European region. I tell you, they're so close in skill, and Mocket getting the victory there, such a huge victory for them, winning the best of 7, securing their spot at the World Championships. They gotta be going ballistic right now. They gotta be super happy. On the other side, pretty unfortunate there for Gale Force. Pashy, as they mentioned, he was on that stage in Amsterdam in the finals, but Gale Force will not be going to the World Championships.
Fairy Peak, you showed up.
He did.
Finally.
He did.
Fairy Peak, that's the Fairy Peak that I wanted to see all season. That is what makes Mocket so scary. And I'm really excited to see them at the World Championships because they look really strong.
Your faith finally rewarded
Finally,
in Mocket.
a
They just
broken
wanted to
clock.
wait all the way to the end. But Lawler said it, the runners-up from last season knocked out Gale Force. They had some chances. Violent Panda, I thought, played his absolute heart out. He had some amazing plays, but like you said, K-Dot, Fairy Peak, and even Mystic, every single one of those players solid. And that 4-minute overtime, that was the momentum. That was where the momentum shifted in favor of Mocket.
That was huge, and such a close series throughout. Let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance replay. So back and forth throughout this best of 7, tied at 2-2. We had a game 5, went to overtime, 4-4, a long overtime there. But guys, let's talk through this Mobile One high performance replay to see exactly how Mocket was able to get it done.
Game 1, Fairy Peaks, he started showing up. He got 1 goal and 1 assist. He was doing all the work for them on the offensive side, setting up a lot of plays. He was near the bottom of assists per game throughout the season, but he really started putting them in for Mocket. But Gale Force was fighting back every single time that they would lose a game. They would bounce right back, and that's Passion Violent Panda, that experience they have. Shaw Set looked a bit shaky, I thought, on the defensive side. He looked great on the offensive side, just looked a little shaky on defense.
Yeah, and that was a trend that we've seen throughout the regular season. Would Shawset be able to show up on defense? And he did struggle. He had some bad plays. Even that one play at the end, if he challenged the ball a little bit higher, he could have cut off that pass into the middle for the game-winning goal. But again, I just cannot say it enough. Violent Panda, he really played his heart out, did his best. But Fairy Peak's contests, I thought, were on point. He had so many 50-50 balls that he won, which resulted in those goals and getting those assists. So Fairy Peak just denying that defensive presence of Gale Force. He just walked over him.
And Pashy, he hates long overtimes, yet for some reason he's always in them. And Gale Force controlled like the last 2 minutes of that overtime. Really good scoring chances, and just couldn't put it in. And that's what cost them there. It's really hard to bounce back from game 5 overtime, but they did. They scored with like 20 seconds left to tie the game in game 6, but Fairy Peak was just a bit too much and got the game winner with 13 seconds left. So crazy series.
Both of you guys talking about Fairy Peak. Is that the factor here, especially looking forward to the rest of the tournament today, their European Regional Championships? Mocket is going to move on here, and they're going to play against Northern Gaming. And that's going to be a good one. But has Mocket kind of figured it out for today? And then looking forward to the World Championships, is Fairy Peak the factor there that has to rise up?
I believe it is. Fairy Peak is so good at 1s and 2s. Plus, he's really good at 3s, just hasn't showed it here yet. But they're about to play a team like Northern Gaming, who's looked extremely strong, probably the best team in the world right now. But again, Northern Gaming, they're playing with Maestro today, but when it comes to the World Championships, they won't have Maestro. So I think that'll help Mocket as well when they go to the World Championships. But it's going to be a really tight series later.
And K-Dop, he played well with Precision Z at the last World Championship. Then you have Mystic, who also, he didn't play the greatest for Northern during league play, but in the World Championship, he played very well. So it's going to be how does Fairy Peak perform in this live environment? Because this is his first time even just getting to the RLCS stage in general. So being up on a stage in front of a lot of people, that could affect him. But if he plays the way he did today, Mocket is a contender. I see what you're talking about, Gibbs.
I know, but he didn't show it until today. But now everyone's like, oh, maybe. It's possible.
What a huge result for Mocket. They secure their spot in the World Championships, and they're going to be playing a little bit later today on the stream. It's going to be the match after this next one. And this next one is going to be incredible. So many implications, everyone, as we're trying to find out the last spot at the World Championships from the European region. We got Flipside Tactics, your defending world champions. They're on the ropes, but is this their element? The single elimination bracket, we're about to find out. They're going up against Resident, a best of 7, coming up next.